Welcome back to another episode of Rec Talk. So today we have the young entrepreneur Mike from Ray Sessions. Mike, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
All good, mate. All good.
Yeah,
Still recovering
you,
from my cough. People keep making a big deal about it. Yeah, I was on the phone earlier and somebody's like, "Oh, you really haven't recovered from that cough yet, have you?" I was like, "Yeah, thanks for pointing that out."
You've had a cough for most of the time I've known you. Since you come back from China. Yeah, honestly. He barked at a client once as well.
Wow.
He was trying to hold in a cough while talking to her, and then he was sort of, and the thing is, she was sort of like, did you just bark at me?
No, what had actually happened in that situation was I had a peanut stuck in my tooth, and then I finally got it out. But when I got it out, I breathed at the same time, so it hit the back of my throat. So yeah. Anyway, mad tangent.
Gross. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Mike, look, obviously, young entrepreneur, successful business person. We kind of really wanted to tap into what young people get motivated by and how they see success and what defines their success. So, I mean, how long have you been doing Ray Sessions for?
First of all, I'd say thank you for inviting me for the podcast. You know, it's a
very
great
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
It's a great pleasure to be able to talk to you guys about such things. And so Ray Sessions, I've been doing it for 4 years now, I think. I initially started it around November 2018. That's when we designed the logo. But properly started running it from 2019, the beginning of 2019. So over 4 years now, 4 and a bit.
Okay.
So you were quite young then when you set that up?
Yeah, I was still at uni. That's actually my final major project. So,
So this was a uni project to start with?
And it went so well, I would be a fool not to continue it, you know. When you see traction, you just continue. And then, with growth, consistency goes. It's like when you plant a seed, you don't expect the flower or a tree to grow out of it next day, do you?
But that's the interesting thing about working with young people at the moment, though, because our version of it is being a little bit longer in the tooth, that they almost want to see success overnight.
Yeah, overnight.
Instant gratification, right? And some of it can be put down to social media and the instant hits. That's one. The instant hits of likes and kind of the dopamine hits that they get from social media. But what are your experiences? Because you obviously work with a lot of young artists and a lot of young people. What motivates them?
Well, it's a very broad question. What motivates them? Because I don't treat people as them. I treat everybody as who they are,
as a you,
and as a you. And everybody has different factors which drive to motivate them. Because, for example, you may want to become like a Formula 1 driver. You, for example, want to become a world best-selling author. So the factors that motivate you are different to your journey, for example. And that's the same way every single young person got their own path. And it doesn't necessarily that they all fall under one umbrella.
That's a really key point, though, isn't it? Because I think certainly our generation, when we were coming up, most of us were motivated by the same things. So actually the people that were kind of mentoring us and motivating us, it was very easy to be able to speak to an entire room full of 20-something-year-old millennials and be like, right, guys, these are the steps that you need to take to become successful and blah, 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 because we were all kind of looking for the same thing. And what you're saying there really makes a key point, which is actually there's so many different kind of metrics of success for different people that if you're trying to find a sweeping kind of, right, how do I motivate Gen Z? And then go, oh, it's not fucking working. Well, it's because you're trying to do it all with the same brush, and that's probably where you might be going wrong.
That's it.
So, okay.
But I suppose our influence was different as well, though, because if you think about the music that we used to listen to was, look how much money I've made. The films that we used to watch were all driven by, look how successful we are. The nuclear family, I've got a house, I've got a car, I've got this. I'm a successful person based on financial metrics. Yeah. The mentors that we had were like, no, you need to buy a house. You need to do this. You need to.
Yeah, we almost had our story written out for us, didn't we? We had this conversation literally the other day. Theo Von, I think, is a hilarious comedian, but he said something on his podcast that was properly stuck with me because he was like, I don't feel like I'm living. I feel like I'm just doing a to-do list. But I don't know whose to-do list it is because it fucking ain't mine. I don't want to be doing these things. And then we look at it and you're like, yeah, that's kind of a lot of our generation has got really disconnected because they're sort of like, well, got married, had kids, got a car, bought a house, started a business, but I still feel like what am I doing? Yeah, something's missing. So maybe the Gen Z guys have got it right in that they're more focused on themselves and their dreams and aspirations. So generally, what are the trends and what kind of people are the younger artists and stuff that you're working with? What are they looking for? What are they motivated by? That's 3.
You know, I thought you guys touched upon very important things, and I'd really like to find out before I answer that.
Yeah.
Like, what are the factors that, you know, were motivating you earlier on? You know, when you
Mark,
said,
this is our podcast, mate. We ask the questions.
no, but I'm just
good point. Right,
I'm very curious.
So I bought my first property when I was 19.
Okay.
Because the lady next door was selling, and my mum went, "Oh, you've been working and saved up a bit of cash. I'll match it if there's a deposit there. Let's buy the next door house." And I've just gone, "Yeah, okay." Like, that's what you're supposed to do, isn't it? You're supposed to buy a house.
Wow.
And like, didn't think anything of it. Just, yeah, fine, no worries. And we put a tenant in there, and every now and then it'd cost me a couple of £100 out of my sort of work money that I'd make, and didn't think anything of it. But I bought that house not because I wanted to get on the property ladder and I wanted to start a property portfolio, but literally because my mum was like, "You should buy a house," and I'm like, "Okay, mum."
So it's not your passion.
Yeah, well, it wasn't at the time, but it's become my passion over time, right?
Well,
Has it become your passion because you're in
because it was instilled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was instilled, because I was given that sort of step up. Because again, there's like my nephews and my siblings who I grew up with and stuff, who aren't on the property ladder yet, because they didn't get that step up from their parents and stuff. The way my mum was just like, "No, we're doing this. You like, I don't care what you say. I'm not going to get a mortgage in my name at my age, so I need you on the mortgage anyway. So come hell or high water, you're going along, right?" So that kind of started that off. The only thing I knew for sure was I want to work for myself one day, right? That was the only thing I was ever motivated by. What I wanted to do, no idea. What skill sets I had, no idea. Because I was just, in my mind, way too immature and stuff. And I was like, let me go and, you know, do a few different jobs and shit like that, and figure out figure a few dozen baker's dozen worth of jobs. And yeah, but the only thing I knew was I'm going to eventually work for myself. And then I'd pick careers that I was sort of like I nearly opened a mobile phone shop.
Wow.
Like literally had the lease signed and everything. And then right at the end was just like, yeah, nah, bung this, can't be arsed. I don't want to sit in the shop all day long. But and then I nearly went self-employed as a financial advisor until I saw the amount of research and the books and the exams I had to pass, which I was like, nah, bung that, I ain't doing that. And it was only I fell into recruitment. I was like, I could do this for myself. This seems like a pretty easy thing to do. I was wrong. It wasn't like, but, you know, we did that. But the things that motivated me, like, were literally just, I want to work for myself and I want to earn some money so that I can buy a bigger house and a nicer car. That was it.
So I'm so glad you answered it in such a way that you did. So now I've grasped the understanding of it. And, you know, let me tell you, what motivates, you know, the young generation right now, well, including myself, even though I'm not as young as some of the people that I work with.
You're still definitely in that.
Yeah, 100%.
In that demo, though.
You
yeah.
know,
Go on.
It's not so different as you'd think. But the only things that changed is the way we perceive things. Technology. That's kind of shape-shifted everything, you know, because people, like, get, I'd say, hypnotized with the idea, why work for 10 years to get from A to B, where you could just, you know, get a line, start trapping, and then, you know, within about 2 months, you're going to get yourself a house, a big car, you're going to have girls all on you. And these are the things that, you know, make a young person be like, should I take the long route or the cool route?
But why is it that they're taking the shortcut to because it's not success. We were literally talking about kind of people who fall into that lifestyle recently.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
4 actually. But we were talking recently about people who fall into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it was your mate, weren't it, that you were saying, who was just like, he's got the fancy car, he's got the kind of the cash, but actually he's looking over his shoulder every single day.
Yeah.
He curtain twitching.
That's it.
But that's the stuff that you don't see, right?
No, exactly.
If I'm a young, impressionable 20-something, and I see
somebody my age coming in with a brand new Merc or a BMW or whatever.
he's driving around in a flashy car, he's got cash in his bank, in his pocket, he's flashing it, you know, he's got all the latest gear on, and then I see the other guy that's like, oh fucking hell, shit, it's at the time already, kids, get in the car, come on. I know which life I'm looking at going, that's what I want to do. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy worrying about the school run and what time it is and shouting at kids in the street.
your stress is a surface level when you're doing it the right way, whereas your stresses are
Yeah.
way deeper if you're doing it the short.
But that's not always communicated either, is it? That's
no. But the
issue.
question is, why do they choose to go that way though?
Well, I thought a lot to do with it is the influence from the culture, the music, social media, and narratives that's in movies and the popular shows.
That's always been the way that, Mike. If you go back to music and how it's influenced people, you've got like NWA when they first came out.
Yeah,
that was,
they've always been.
Yeah, they've always been chastised. Like generally speaking, hip hop and kind of that culture has always been chastised. Even up until recently, when drill music was spoken about being banned and stuff like that. But today's young people. We grew up on kind of 90s and noughties hip hop and stuff like that, right? But that never compelled me to want to go out and be a gangster. I listened to the music, I enjoyed listening to people's stories, but it never made me think, no, do you know what I want to do? I want to go be a gangster. We watched Scarface and Goodfellas and all that sort of stuff.
It wasn't as accessible either, though. Right now, if I'm a teen, all I need is a TikTok account or a Snapchat account, and I'm going to be bombarded with messages. I mean, bombarded with people being like, look at how much fucking cash I've got. Do you want some of this? Do you want to get in on this? You know, we didn't have that, right? We had a very different upbringing. We had youth clubs for starters.
Yeah.
These guys don't have youth clubs. They're sitting around on the streets and stuff, and they're getting trapped into this. Like, just take this bag, chuck it over there, and here's some fancy shoes. Here's a nice this, that, and the other. And the parents are struggling that much because I hate one thing I hate is the parents need to do more. The parents need to do more.
Some of these parents are running 2 jobs.
Some of these parents ain't got a clue what their kids are doing because they're so busy trying to keep a roof over their head and food on the plate. That's their priority.
Very true.
And as a parent, they're 2 of your core responsibilities. You know, tucking your kid into bed at night and reading them a story is a nice to have, not a necessity anymore. You know, the necessities are I need to put food on the plate and I need to keep a roof over their heads. So they're not going to keep an eye on what they're doing. And then that's how a lot of these young kids start looking at this lifestyle and like the you know.
But then are they motivated by money then? And because would that not make them motivated by the same things that we were motivated by?
No, because we were motivated by money to use that money as a vehicle to buy that nice car or, you know, that house or whatever.
That's what these guys are doing, aren't they?
No, because
you're not buying. So if you're,
it's the same goal.
If I'm a 20-something-year-old now, so are you a homeowner?
Not yet.
Not yet. When do you think you'll be in a position to buy your first home?
And speaking in retrospect, 2 years, no more than 2 years.
Yeah. So that would put you.
But how long have you been trying to How long have you been? Has that goal been?
It's for a long time, and I'll be honest with you guys, and that's why I feel the key theme, because the topic, great, fantastic, and we're really getting there, we're touching the surface, but the reality is it's all about understanding the environments some of the young people in question are coming from. Like, what areas are they? Like, how much income do their families make? Have they got access to actual money, or as money has always been the barrier that they can't break through? Because if money is an issue, then that's when you're thinking, what can I do to bring money in right now? Because nobody wants to do any bad things in reality. Everybody wants to be a good person. I mean, that's what I believe. It's just sometimes the environment pushes you towards certain things, and, you know, under pressure, you fold and you make the wrong choice. As you say, for example, for short-term gratification, instead of like a longer goal. Because I think one of the important things is to acknowledge that people's attention span has become shorter and shorter over time in the new age, right? In the information age we live in right now. Yeah. So what does that mean?
A year is a long time.
Oh, it's a long time.
To us, it wasn't, right? A year was like, a year's worth of savings, I'll have a deposit. A year is like a decade to the younger generation.
If not more,
from what
it's impossible. Because there's platforms like, you know, at the start it was like Instagram, and then Snapchat was like 10 seconds.
You're too young, but before that there was MySpace.
Oh, MySpace, of course.
No, Vine started it, right? 7-second videos.
Yeah.
In 7 seconds, you got to capture your audience, do something stupid, do something funny, do something engaging.
Yeah.
And you'd blow up. And people like the Paul brothers and stuff made a killing off that. Why? Because they were able to do that in that 7 seconds. But whilst that was happening, you were also training the minds of your audience only want and like gain 7 seconds worth of information and call that like depth.
We can't even tolerate a 5-second advert now.
No.
Think about when you used to watch terrestrial TV as a kid, right? You'd have 10 minutes of a TV show and then a 5-minute ad break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, on your phone, you can't tolerate 5 seconds of an advert. There have been times where when Facebook first did the Reels, when I will see an advert and I just flick straight through. I'm not watching this now because you've shown me an advert. Facebook never used to show me adverts. Now it's showing me an advert, so I'm going to flick through. But now we kind of started to accept it because they're now bringing in 10-second adverts or
That's
2
it.
adverts at a time. But I guess the point is more along the lines of, why can't these guys see, or these young people see a longer term goal? Why can't they? Why is it so hard for them to think 12, 18, 24 months, even 10 years down the road?
Because, like I mentioned, the environment is the key. And for example, if someone comes from a tough environment when it comes financially, right? You're seeing, imagine, they're not a nuclear family, first of all, yeah? Mm-hmm. Imagine you live in like a low income area, like for example, Hillfields, right? And you are also an immigrant, right? And you see your mum doing 2 jobs just to cover rent,
Yeah.
right? And you're left on your own all day long. You step outside and what do you see?
Yeah.
And how's that going to influence you? And then, right now, in 2023 in UK, what's one of the most popular TV shows that came out recently?
Yeah, Top Boy, yeah.
There you go. And what does that show?
My mum went to Married at First Sight. Right, Beebs?
No, but like...
No, but you're bang on. You're absolutely bang on. Like, there's from a sort of the privileged situation where we sit and look out, it's very easy for us to be like, oh, it's a lost generation. This generation's gone bad. I mean, we're 2 days removed from the kid in Croydon who's like stabbed that girl in the neck because her mate rejected some flowers or some shit like that.
I heard about it. That's crazy.
It's fucking nuts, right? That sort of stuff wouldn't have wouldn't even be conceived when we were sort of that age, right? And it's very easy for us to sit here and be like, oh, lost generation. But there's a lot more to it.
Oh,
now,
it's very, very deep, because these days, obviously, if we're to touch up like the relationship side of things, where people communicating with one another, like back in the day when I was growing up, you know, I was in secondary school, and even when I went uni, so that's like 5-6 years ago now, yeah, it was normal to, like, for example, talk to people on the street, like, oh, you're right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now
people got their guards
on
up,
their
haven't they?
phones. Now it's like, you talking to me? Like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you invading my privacy?
Well,
why are you invading my space?
Everyone's a
anxious.
But it's a confrontation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't strike up a conversation without
Being
it being a
awkward.
confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It does get awkward, doesn't it, Beebs?
I suppose then the issue then you have is that, like, you take that into the working world, right? So you have got the this sub 25-year-old that's grown up in this sort of environment, that has these outside influences and struggles, and then tries to go, do you know, no, I'm gonna buckle down, gets himself or herself an office job, and comes in, and they're seeing everybody's all happy, jovial, they're all driving their cars, talking about their mortgages and their gardening and all the rest of it, and you just can't relate to that, and you're sat there and you're just like, this ain't me, I don't feel right in this environment, right? And then business owners like us would be like, it just doesn't quite fit in, this person, or something's amiss, or, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, because there's that much of a disconnect between what our lives are like and what some of these, and I say a majority of the young people are going through at the minute, we almost find it hard to empathise or like.
Well, there's almost nothing in
put
common.
ourselves in those in that. Yeah. It's just, just leave it at the door. I mean, how many times have we used to get told that? We both came from phone shops, and in the back, you'd have a mirror on the door that would take you onto the shop floor, and it'd just be like, fix your smile and leave your shit here, sort of thing. Literally just like, when you're on the shop floor, you're smiling and like, none of your problems exist, because that was the mentality then. Whereas now we're a lot more kind of, talk about your problems. Mental health is more on people's mind, and people are a lot more open about it. But then has that then bled into people are just constantly depressed now because they're openly talking about how sad they are?
I think you're right, Mike, in that the environment plays a massive factor in that, right? We come up where social media didn't exist. So for those people who didn't have a great time at school or kind of were victims of bullying, that bullying stopped once you left school.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't. It carries on through social media.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go on to things like, what do they do when they even go outside? We used to play football at the park, or we'd go to youth clubs, or we'd be allowed to go to a friend's house and we'd sit there, play PlayStation or 6 times, play PlayStation or do whatever we wanted to do because you were welcomed into each other's homes and that sort of stuff, right? But there was a lot more to do.
Yeah, community was a bigger part, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Like I remember me and my cousin were playing in my nan's back garden, right? And playing football, the ball ended up hitting the neighbour's door, right? To this day, I maintain that the window was already broken, right? But the ball hit the window, and she came out and she gave us a bollocking. Now, if today one of the neighbours bollocked my kids, I'd be like, don't talk to my kids like that. Whereas before, it'd be like, fucking hell, the neighbours are telling me off. I better be good because they're going to go tell my mum and dad now. Mm-hmm. And
you literally hit the nail on the hammer, mate.
But it's true though, isn't it? Because now we don't allow kind of outside interference and all that sort of stuff because the community piece is gone.
Yeah, everyone's against us. That's the mentality. Everyone's against me. No one's here to help. That kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone's out for themselves.
It's a tough one. It is a tough one. So you're obviously you started off this project at uni. You thought, fucking hell, actually, there's some legs here. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of weird and wonderful people. Mm-hmm. Now, how are you getting them to leave the street outside? You know, if you're coming into the studio, you're coming in to make music, or we're going to go off and we're going to record a video and all the rest of it. How are you stopping these guys from like beefing with each other or having issues in your studio? Do you know what I mean?
So first of all, like, you know, it's very difficult to be able to control an individual that's controlled by external factors that are very, very strong. Mm-hmm. You know, there's only safety measures that I could put in place to provide a safe space for everyone that's involved. So first of all, you know, we lock the doors during sessions, so therefore there could be no external interference. And also, you know, we encourage people that whatever you got going on outside, that's outside. Inside, it's like a safe haven where you could offload. Hence, we have a shoes off, slides on policy in the studio. So you take your shoes off, you put the slides on, so you become more comfortable, and then you could, you know, focus on expressing, because music is all about expression. Mm-hmm. And if you come for a session and you're constantly stressed, it impacts your expression.
Come out in it. Yeah.
So these are the little things that we do, but in reality, other than that, there's not much I can do, because, for example, if you are, you know, gang affiliated, for example, whatnot, but you just come to use the studio, for example, just to record your thing, and then you're recording whatnot, the message, you know, from a business perspective, it's not good if I tell you, oh, sorry, mate, you can't say this, because then you're gonna just leave, and where does the money come into my pocket? It doesn't, does it? Mm-hmm. So, you know.
So you got to make the tough decision of do you
got to
affiliate
balance?
yourself with?
Yeah, you got to balance it out. Then, haven't you?
At the end of the day,
you got to think about kind of the revenue coming into the business, but at the same time, you don't want
100%, because the reality is everything's so expensive nowadays, and not a lot of people can afford, you know, to pursue their passions. Mm-hmm. So, and considering, you know, it's not easy to get grants and funding, so it's hard to say no to work that comes in.
Yeah,
but
no, that's fair.
It's very clear.
And do you think that's the same for most young people then? And is that why then they fall into kind of the bad habits and the easy money, because it's too hard to say no to money that can potentially be coming in?
You know what? That's different. I'd like to say that the reason why they do that, obviously, it's all individual factors first of all, but I think the key is to understand that a lot of these young people nowadays, first of all, they don't know who they are. You know, they all create multiple layers of who they want you to perceive.
Yeah, I don't think that's exclusive to this generation, though. I mean, that's gone on for years. Absolutely, like for generations.
True.
Oh, I mean, I don't know who I was at 17, 18, which I find fascinating, because at 18 years old, I could go to the student loans company and I could go, I want to do a degree in whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, no worries. At the time, it was like 3,600 quid for the term for each year at uni. So they'll give me a student loan for 12 grand, and then a maintenance loan as well to pay for my accommodation, and then this and that and that. And I come out of uni with a degree in a subject that really is meaningless, and about 25 to 30 grand's worth of
That's
debt.
it.
Right? But if I go to a financier, whoever, a bank, a loans company, investor, whatever, as an 18-year-old and say, right, I have this idea. This is how I'm going to make money. This is what I'm going to do. These are the different avenues of revenue that I've come up with. I'd like a £30,000 loan. They laugh you out the building.
They'll not even let you in, mate.
No, but hey, do you know what I mean? Right? And that, I find that fascinating because
young people don't get taken seriously in business.
No, they don't. No, absolutely. You will absolutely send them off to uni and dump them in a load of debt and be like, oh yeah, when you get a job like a big boy, you can pay that back out of your wages. But you go as a 18 to 20-year-old, go into a bank and say, I'd like a business loan, please. Here's my business concept and my business idea. You just laughed at and walked out like, please leave. Like, you know.
That's
it. Do you think that's the same within the hiring process as well, though? Do you think young people don't get taken seriously when they apply for jobs?
You know, it's like every company is looking for that young apprentice to come through, ideally at 18, 19 with about 5-6 years experience, eh?
Yeah.
But even when they're looking at apprenticeships, though, the only reason they get given an opportunity as an apprentice is there are government grants and government incentives to take apprentices on, but they're also only giving young people an opportunity in a field that they think is almost low risk.
Low risk. That's a very good way to
Do you know what I mean? There's no You look at any big business. Would they take a risk with bringing in like an apprentice in their economics division or their finance division or anything like that? They don't. They
tend to be on like the entry level stuff.
It's
but
like,
I think,
get me a grad.
Get me a grad. It's the apprentice is the. No,
for the
I know what you mean.
Risk,
yeah, low
for
risk,
the low risk type,
low risk,
low impact,
potentially
part of
higher
the business.
return. Yeah, okay, yeah, but yeah, it's a tough one because I mean we've seen it. We've interviewed not just apprentices but young people, and we ask them the same questions in the interview process all the time, right? Which is, all right, what are you motivated by? And every time we hear the following sentence, we both always look at each other and sort of smirk because it's the same. No, I would love someone to say that because I like the honesty. But it's always, I just want to be a success.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I just want to be a success. What's a success to you? And then it filters into, it breaks into an entire conversation around what is success and why they feel like, that they need to be a success. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss because it's sort of like, it's very easy to be like, yeah, well, he's come from a broken home and he's gone into like dealing and or whatever, or whatever it is he shouldn't be doing. And it's like, yeah, that's fine, but have you ever asked him why? What's that person looking for? Because we interview people who haven't gone into that route and ended up on the road, but they also say the same thing. I just want to be a success. And I'm like, well, quantify that. Well, what the fuck is success? Because on paper you could go, yeah, I just want to be a success like you guys, because you guys have got your own car and you've got your house and you got this and you got that. And we would sit there and we had this conversation the other day. Like, that to me is not success. I'm just like, fucking this, that's hassle. These are liabilities. Like, I don't see this as success anymore. I see this as a liability.
But is that not because there are so many variables now within success?
Yeah.
Because there's an argument that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, right?
Word.
And if you're into music or sport or whatever, and you're doing that and you're loving it, then it actually, is that not success? If you're driven by assets and you buy houses and cars and all that sort of stuff, and that's what you wanted to achieve, that's a success. So I think you touched on it right at the start, which is individually we need to understand what these kind of young people are looking for. But one thing I wanted to touch on was, you obviously started your business quite young, straight out of uni, right? So how did you get taken seriously then? How did you look at the banking providers, the investors, or kind of whoever it was that you needed in terms of office support and infrastructure? Yeah. How did you get them to take you seriously?
Well, I didn't really. I just said to myself, even if nobody helps me, I'm gonna continue doing it, like, because I feel it. Because that's the key theme which I wanted to touch upon. Is a lot of people don't know who they are, and obviously, the importance of that is if you know who you are, you know the direction you want to take. For example, me, I was always passionate about music, and then I studied media. So for me, to merge the two together was a no-brainer. And then from there, I was like, doesn't matter how many other things I start in the future or all the other ventures that I'll have, because like you said as well, that this generation is, you know, driven by like the side hustle culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very, very good and positive, you know.
Oh, do you?
I think so because,
okay.
you know, side hustles doesn't necessarily have to have negative connotation to it, behind it. You know, there's a lot of, you know, self-help / success books, you know, which talk about having multiple streams of income. You know, if you guys read Money or Think and Grow Rich, books like that, you know, they constantly encourage you to be like, cool, this part of your time you'll dedicate for this hustle, but then you develop another hustle which will cover for your hobbies, for example, and then the next hustle will cover for your family holidays, etc. And it just teaches you, you know, practically of the blueprint of how to create a positive habits which lead towards the success, the financial rewards that come back.
Interesting.
And now going back to me, you know, I've started Ray Sessions, you know, the music production platform. You know, it was very hard to be taken seriously as a young entrepreneur. I was very fortunate that in my final year where I actually knuckled down at uni, because a lot of the time these days when people go uni, they go for fun. I did as well, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, because you know what? I feel like these days, one of the issues is that young people, they grow up too quick. They don't have time to have fun. They don't have time to actually let loose and be themselves. Because if you're authentic with your true selves, that's when you find out yourself. You know that you don't want to take no bullshit. You know, you want to just...
That's interesting, because I actually think the opposite. I think young people today stay young for a lot longer. Because
I think it depends on the metric, doesn't it?
That's it.
It depends on the metric. Because if you think, is staying young, still living at home, working just a job that's not a career, and like the things that we were told, you know what I mean? Like, if me and you were still living at home working in a mobile phone shop, we'd be like, yeah, we're still kids, aren't we? Fucking hell, right? But does that translate into this generation now? I don't think so. But like, I think the metrics changed. The measuring stick's different.
I think the maturity level is different as well, though.
Yeah.
Because you, as a young person, found your niche really early, right?
Yes.
And you grew up, and it's like, right, this is what I want to achieve, and I'm going to go and do it. The maturity level now seems to be, I'm going to try this for a few months, and if I don't like it, I'll try something else. And if I don't like that, I'll try something. There's always an easy out, which is I'm gonna try something different, and you're almost resetting the clock every single time. Whereas,
yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Whereas the commitment,
it
doesn't exist, does it? It's not a case.
But then, is that down to immaturity, or is that actually down to maturity? Because how many people stick to a dead end job because they feel like they have no other choice? Is it not a mature thing to do to be able to stop something? Right, stop. You know, like they in investment, right? They say if an investment is going bad, pull out. Don't stick in it. That's 101, right? So okay, I started this job, and 3 weeks into it, I'm like, this is shit. I don't want to be here. This is fucking crap.
But why is it this? But why is it shit though?
No, for whatever reason it could be, right? But this is crap. I want to go do something else. This isn't me. That takes a certain level of maturity, some could argue, because there's others and previous generations and our parents probably fall into that kind. Well, I know mine do, where they'll just no, they'll keep going because they feel they have to, because you know I'm grown up now and I have to carry on, and they'll eat shit and like the taste of it day after day after day because that's what they were told that was what they were supposed to do. So it's a tough one, because I almost tip my hat to those that are like, nah, this is shit, I'm doing something else.
But I suppose it comes down to, I mean, look, if you're like me, right? I didn't go to uni. I all but bombed most of my GCSEs, right? And I come out of kind of the education system with no qualifications and no real vocation to be able to go do anything.
Mm-hmm.
What was my saving grace is that after the army, I fell into sales, and my idea of success was to be at the kind of the upper echelons of my field, whether that was in mobile phone sales, car sales, recruitment, whatever it is. I always wanted to be at that number one spot, and that to me was defined as success. But I also had a sense of responsibility that, well, look, I'm not just going to be sitting there, looking at my parents, the government, whatever social system I can, to be able to earn a crust, or look at turning to a life of crime, and being like, okay, well, crime is going to make me get me to pay now. So what it comes down to is there's a level of maturity that I think you need to be able to commit yourself to something like what you do, because at the end of the day, you could have done your degree, you could have started race sessions, and 6 months down the line, nobody's taking you seriously as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah, you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, forget it. Do you know what?
End up on road.
Yeah, I know enough people. I can go and do whatever walk of life you want to go into. You could go and work in a warehouse.
That's it.
Do whatever you want, right? But there's a level of commitment and maturity that comes with that. Whereas I think if you're prepared to just knock it on the head after 6 months because something isn't shit, or something's shit and you don't like it, that to me is immature. Because it's like, okay, well, why is it shit? Well, because I've got to stand in front of customers all day and smile and leave my shit at the door and serve them and do whatever I need to do. Okay, but what else can you do? Have you given yourself something else to do? Have you looked at a passion project? Have you looked at any of the other bits that you can... It's almost an expectation to be motivated by somebody rather than choosing to motivate yourself. And I think therein lies the underpinning issue, which is why do people like us struggle to motivate the younger generation? And that's because we didn't need to be motivated. We were motivated.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point.
So we were.
We were, yeah.
We were motivated.
We were self-motivated because we had, whether it was the right thing or not, or whether it was in the long term what we look back at and be like, yeah, I'm still motivated by those same things. Yeah, we were motivated by, when we learnt to drive at 17, the minute we got our fucking provisionals and we were allowed to drive, we fucking learnt to drive. Yeah. How many young kids don't know how to drive at the moment, right? And the number of staff that we've had that have worked here that are sub 25 that couldn't drive, and we're like, that's so weird. Like that's bizarre to us, you know. We bought our houses in our early 20s.
Early 20s, yeah.
But then is that because we could, you know?
Yeah, I think money has such a huge impact because, like, back a day, the prices weren't as high as now.
Yeah.
The inflation and even the cost of like getting a car, maintaining a car.
Yeah.
The cost of, the
but we didn't give a shit about that. I'll tell you now. I would say as soon as I got my car, 60 to 70% of my money that I earned at that time would go on my car.
Yeah.
And I didn't care because it was my car. I can drive where I want.
I agree.
I want to go to Manchester. I'm going to go to Manchester.
I agree. And
you know what I mean?
beautiful.
Like, just it didn't matter to us. But I think this is where I think this is my kind of disparity with that side hustle culture that I don't like, which is I think it's contributed to the short attention span. The try something for 3 weeks and bung it in because this is shit, I'm going to do something else. Because it's so easy to start and stop side cultures. And I can, I'm sure of the people that walk through your door and do sessions with you, there are people that have tried Amazon, like FBA businesses, drop shipping websites, I'm going to start a clothing brand. I'm going to make t-shirts. I'm going to get heat press and make t-shirts because it's all the same shit. Like your generation aren't the only ones that see these TikToks and stuff. We see it as well. Only the difference is that the younger generation see these kind of side hustles, 10 side hustles that will make you like your first meal and all the rest of it. And you guys are like motivated by it. We look at it and laugh and go, this is fucking ridiculous. Like they're trying to push this narrative of you can be rich like that because you just can't, right? You just can't.
People like Andrew Tate and that who's selling this Hustlers University bullshit and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And it's just like there is no shortcut to
success, for hard work.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
That's true.
And the problem is that you're one of few people in your generation who isn't prepared to blame their environment about why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas there are so many more people who, and in fact that's unfair to young people, because actually, even in our generation, I mean, one of the biggest bits of advice we ever got, and it's the best advice I've ever had in my life, which was, what could you have done differently to change the outcome, right? And that's what we pretty much ran the entire business off, right? Which is, what could we have done differently to change the outcome? And people even at our generation, when you ask them that question, they're like, oh, but this person did this, or the wind was blowing in a different direction, the weather was wrong, or this had happened, that happened. And it's really easy to blame everything else, rather than look at, okay, those things I couldn't control. The controllables that I had, what could I do with that information?
How taking accountability.
Absolutely.
You know, and not a lot of people take accountability in this day and age, and that's what separates, you know, the people that excel and people that just fall in a loop.
So I don't think there's enough people educating the younger generation, right? There's a really famous kind of New York Times comic strip, and it's basically a kind of homeless person that, like a drunk, sat there, and then there's like on contrast in the other picture, there's like your typical traditional businessman, right? Business briefcase and all the rest of it. And somebody asks them, oh, how come you ended up, why are you like that? And the drunk homeless person says, because my father was an alcoholic. And then the same question gets asked to the successful businessman, and he says, because my father was an alcoholic. And it's like,
two sides of the coin.
Exactly, right? There's just not enough people going, yes, your environment's shit. Yes, the economy's bad. Yes, the likelihood is you won't buy a house until you're in your late 30s, early 40s. Yes, career options are getting less and less. Yes, it'd be nice to have a side hustle, but statistically speaking, it's not going to work out for you. That is the case. However, you still got to do it. You still got to motivate yourself. You still got to get up and go to work, and you got to make something of yourself, because that's just the way it is,
it's just
right?
Because
that's just the way it is. You don't have to go and end up on road. You don't have to go and commit a crime. You don't have to do those things.
No.
That's a choice. You're choosing that option. Just like not doing it is a choice.
100%.
I just think there's just not enough people that are kind of educating this lost generation of people that are kind of like, what the fuck do we do?
Is that then because when we had it, we had youth workers?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we had people constantly telling us these things.
But there are youth workers now as well. But let me just say one thing.
But they're overworked.
I believe was it Bill Gates who said it, like, it's not your fault if you're born poor, but it's your fault if you die poor. Because it's the choices that you make, which touches upon exactly what you said. Now, you said about there's no youth workers. I mean, personally, like, I'm involved in some doing work for the third sector, and there are wonderful organisations here in Coventry doing third sector work, providing opportunities for young people. Same in Birmingham as well. So you're talking more regional level, and those organisations, like, they got big task at hand, you know, dealing with, like you said, the disparity between the new generation and the old generation, and also with the introduction of technologies and accessibility of those technologies to young people, which essentially means that they're pre-programmed from an early age, where it's like the mold is still molding, and you could just, you know, mold it however you want it, and the influence that just passes through those devices, you know, shapes those people who those devices want them to be, you know, pigeonholed in a category, in a box.
Yeah, I mean, my son did. I've got a 13, nearly 14-year-old son, and I mean, do you remember the first time he played pool? Yeah. He was like, he came in
the blind faith and
pure
arrogance.
cocksure himself.
It was
Like,
so
Dad, I'm going to
funny.
smash you at pool. I'm going to smash you. Never played pool. Never picked up a pool cue in his life. I'm going to smash you at pool. Couldn't even hold the cue. Didn't even know what to do with it. Right?
We just had blind faith in it.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna beat you.
he saw videos of, like, people playing pool and stuff. Like, I could do that. I could do it. It doesn't look that hard. It doesn't look that hard. And this is the thing. It's the one thing that he has really kind of honed his skill on is his artwork. He's really, really good at art, and he's really good at drawing. But he's spent hours. He's at that point now where he'll do like a 6-hour drawing, and he'll break that down over like 3 stages of 2 hours at a time and stuff like that. But social media has told him that he can play pool. He can just pick up a pool cue and start playing pool. Social media has told him that recently he tried to mod his PlayStation. Did I tell you about this?
No.
So he tried to. Do you know about this? So he tried to mod his PlayStation controller. He's got a PS5, right?
Right.
Saw this video, and the guy's literally like, unscrew the back, take this bit out, add these bits in, screw it back in, job done. Unscrews it, does it, breaks one of the ribbons that's at the back of it. Totally fucks the controller.
Oh my god.
And he's like, oh, fucking hell, starts kicking off, starts throwing a fit. And I'm like, what made you think you could do that? So when I saw this video, I was like, right, and how long's the video? It's like 15 seconds. Right. So people study electrical engineering for years, right? And you're going to look at a 15-second video and become an electrical engineer. And overnight, just like be like, yeah, that's it, I know, I'm going to fix it. So it's that influence and that kind of almost a cheat code, I suppose, that these influencers
Everyone's
are
looking
given.
for the quick win, aren't they? Everyone's looking for the quick result.
But the difference is you're talking about youth workers in like Coventry and Birmingham and stuff like that.
Look at the gym and like well-being messages, right? It went from when we were younger to, you know, you'd go to the gym and like don't expect to see any results in the first however many weeks and this, that and the other. Now you got like do calisthenics, you'll start
by the
cutting
end of September you're
by the end of September you're going to have a six-pack, and it's like this is the world we're in now. They want quick results. They want like I want to just do something and it'd be like bang, there you go, I got this money.
So is that why young people aren't being taken seriously then in business? Because
naivety, yeah, possibly.
Because there's a level of naivety, and people like me and you and generations older than us are looking at them thinking, what do you mean you want to be a finance director or a managing director in the next 3 years? It's just not going to happen. Have they got unrealistic expectations?
Very much so.
Or is it that we've got unrealistic?
Or are we holding them back though?
Yeah, well, this is the other thing, right?
Are we putting a lid on their aspirations?
Because we couldn't break through that glass door as quickly as they wanted to. Are we holding them back, or do they have unrealistic expectations?
I think the truth lies in the middle, because there is a bit of both, like both valid points from my perspective. You know, at one hand, you know, who are you not to dream big? Like, who are you to like put a lid on someone's aspirations?
Dreams, yeah, absolutely.
If a young person comes around and says, you know what, I'm going to be the next best rapper coming out of Coventry, who am I to say, no, you're not, mate, you're shit? That would be me crushing a man's dream, a young person's dream.
Mm-hmm. Or saving them the heartache of 10 years.
But why is it our place to do that, though, right?
It's not.
We had this conversation about Nathan the other day.
Yeah, he's shit, to be fair.
Yeah, but we had this conversation about Nathan the other day, because we were like, you know, just think if he'd have taken our advice 6 to 8 months ago and just gone and got a job, just any old job that pays, like, you know, down in a warehouse somewhere or whatever, he wouldn't be doing any of this for us.
Yeah, and just do the music.
Doing stuff like this for us has opened up, like, he gets inquiries come through all the time. I saw the videos that you've done. I saw you know, you get mentioned quite a lot in the podcast and all the rest of it. Like, you know, could you do some work for us? Could you do some work for us? But if you'd have just listened to our advice back then, which was, mate, you just need to earn some money now. Just go and get a warehouse job. Just do 4 on 4 off, and you could do your other stuff outside of those hours.
4 days off, yeah.
And if he hadn't stomped his feet and been like, no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. No.
Followed his passion, didn't he?
Yeah, and it worked out for him, right? So there's that argument, but then equally think about how many there are that it doesn't work out for, that end up then going, now I'm in a situation where I need a quick fix of money, so I'm going to go and do the easy thing.
So how many fail stories are there in comparison for success stories?
Yeah, no idea.
Do you know what I mean? It's literally that, like, it's beautiful to see that, for example, Nathan stomped his feet and said, no, I'm going to do this. And it's working for him, because it's beautiful to see that, you know, a man pursuing his dream, his passion, is, you know, taking accountability for his own actions and being able to, you know, get from A to B to C and so on, have a clear direction what he wants to do, because what it builds self-confidence in his own thinking, and that is priceless, you know, and that's what young people should do. But then there's also the argument that you had about having realistic expectation, not like expecting results overnight. You know, for example, in music, they say it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. Without that 10 years of struggle, you can't be an overnight sensation on social media. And that's what young people
But that's
don't
the bit
get
where people don't see, though, don't they?
But you know,
they don't see any of that.
Pokemon
they
Go became a really big thing, didn't it? Like, what was it, 2-3 years ago, whatever it was?
That was like 6 years ago.
But yeah, it's nearly 10 years. It's gone up to like 10 years.
Yeah. But Pokemon Go...
Go.
but the point is, though, that became a thing, and people are like, oh, fucking hell, Pokemon Go is a thing now, and that guy's overnight become a success. But what they didn't see was that was in development for like 10-15 years, and they didn't see the hard same as like Facebook was in development for fucking, okay, yeah, it blew the way it did, but it was in development for a lot longer than the film suggests, and it was in development for a lot longer.
But that's not what people focus on, though,
no,
right?
people focus on Facebook was there one day, and then
think about social platforms now and stuff like that. There's like measurement graphs and stuff that are out there. I mean, Nathan would be able to bring it up, and it's like the platform and how long it took to get to its first 10 million users, and it's like, you know, like Facebook took so many months, and Twitter took so many months, and LinkedIn took so many months, and then it gets up to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT got to 10 million users in like 4 days, and that's the shit that we pedal out as successful.
But what it doesn't show,
what you don't see is ChatGPT has actually been in development for over 15 years. It's a large language learning model that has been fed data for decades.
Yeah,
and like it's taken absolutely ages before it was even released. But we never ever seem to focus on the how did we get to this point. What we always seem to focus on is the look how quickly this happened.
But going back to your health and wellness thing, right? People focus on the bodybuilder with the six pack and the fucking massive chest, but what they don't see is the amount of time he spent in the gym or she spent in the gym, the attention to nutrition,
and
the sacrifice,
the stuff she had to say no to, or he had to say no to.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so true. It's like I have the pleasure to train one of my friends who recently did his first men's physique show, and for me to see it firsthand, the dedication, the discipline he's endured on himself is just beyond belief.
Mental.
Like oh sorry, I can't go out too tough because I haven't got the energy. Like cutting on the food, going gym and you have no energy, you only have certain meals. And you cut calories like per week leading to the show, and then I seen him going from like big to like bit thin but ridiculously ripped. And I see like the way it impacted him as a person. Like he was struggling. I seen like the way that 2 months ago he would just go like this, no problem. That I seen and just seeing that made me realize like the levels, the discipline, what people don't see, because they just see.
No, but this is the bit that people don't show.
That rip guy.
You only show the end result. Oh, here he is. Fucking hell, yeah. That happened like that.
It's the same with all athletes and all sports stars and musicians and kind of people who are at the elite level in their field.
Yeah, they don't
people don't see, like, they look at someone like Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo and they're like, oh yeah, but they're just God-given talent. Yeah, of course, some of it is talent, absolutely. But everybody that's ever trained with Cristiano Ronaldo will say that he's
a workhorse.
First one on the training field, last one to leave. He looks after himself in terms of his health, his well-being. He does everything he can to prolong his career and achieve what he's achieved. Same as Messi, same as the biggest rappers
Top
and the biggest musicians and artists in the world.
That then says that the answer sits with us and our generation then, right? Because it's our marketing teams and it's our PR teams that are not showing the journey. We're only showing the success metric, right? So we're sitting here as millennials and older going, why can't we motivate Gen Z? Why are Gen Z so focused on being successful and not seeing the hard work? Why are Gen Z so lazy? Why are Gen Z like this? Why are Gen Z like that? And the answer is, it's our own fucking making. Because we're the ones sitting there banging on about, oh yeah, look at how quickly our platform got to so many users. Oh, look at how quickly we launched this to the market. Look at what we did here. Look at what we did there. We're the ones flashing them with success. And then we're like, what do you mean you want success? Does you not know the hard work? Well, you're not talking about the hard work. You're not doing the story of the hard work. You're not giving people visibility on that. All you're doing is showing them the end product and getting them to wow over that. And then you're getting annoyed when all they want is the end product and they don't give a shit about the journey. You haven't spoke about the journey. You haven't told them about the journey. You haven't shown any form of interest in that. All you've shown them is them on the stage or them, like, whatever it might be.
The
right?
accolades, the awards.
The accolades, the awards, all that sort of stuff. That's the shit you're shouting about. And then you're getting frustrated at the fact that that's what they want. Well, you've been giving them that. So you've been feeding the monster the whole time.
You know what, guys? I'm very impressed with how reflective you guys are. You both of you should give yourself a pat on the shoulder because, not everybody can be as reflective as you guys just demonstrating out. Like, it's impressive from my
perspective. We got the ego. I
think it's because, like, certainly for me, I don't want to talk for you, but for me, it's because I've got 2 little girls and I don't want them to, like, just have a shit upbringing and have a shit experience when they're in their formative years, when they're older. Do you know what I mean? And so like I like to understand about that mindset and that psyche, because like I want to be able to relate and understand rather than sit there and dictate to them, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. Like I need to be able to understand, well, what are you going through? Why are you so bothered about the end result? Well, that's because actually our job as the generation before was to show you the journey, and we didn't show you the journey. All we showed you was the end product. And then we got annoyed at the fact that all you wanted to do was be the end product.
And that's, very, like I said, I'm just impressed that you guys can be so reflective, because
Simon Sinek did a talk a few years back where he was talking. You know who Simon Sinek is?
No.
He's a really big kind of marketing and self-help kind of guy. Really knows his stuff. And he said that the upcoming generation, the Gen Zs and kind of that generation, they
The size of that flask cracks me up.
it's massive.
All right.
They want to be at the top of the mountain
Yeah.
as soon as they can, but they have no idea how to get there.
Because we've not told them how to. We've not showed them how to. Right, to take Ed Sheeran.
But no,
You
it's
talk
about
about- no,
understanding
but-
why they want to be at the top of the mountain, though.
Because that's all we're showing them.
No, but why do they want to? But why do they want to be there?
Because we're putting that in glitz and glamour. Why did when we were younger, why did we want to be footballers? Because all you saw on telly was footballers, and footballers were doing everything, and they were starting that whole kind of like the wag culture and stuff was starting to come out. Why do all the next generation want to be YouTubers? Because that's all they're seeing. Mr. Beast is giving away fucking £100 million out of his fucking back pocket to just any random stranger who rocks up, and they're like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have that kind of that fuck you money, because that's what we're showing them. This fucking cunt over here managed to earn $200 million playing Fortnite. I want to play Fortnite and earn $200 million.
Fucking who's that kid?
But do you know what I mean? Like that's all we're showing them.
Yeah, who's that 6-year-old kid who reviewed toys and he's
Yeah. On or out like in like, the other one. What they're Roma and Diana. Oh my god, if I have to watch another one of those episodes. But
Anya and Elsie
all my kids ever want to do.
time.
My girls are like, oh, daddy, can we get a camera and set it up and just record me and Anaya playing? I'm like, why? Because then we can put it on YouTube and then we can make lots of money and then we don't have to go to school. And I'm like, that's all you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. Of course you want that, because that's what you're seeing. If we were talking more about the journey and showing people the hard work and the graft, think Rocky. Not our generation didn't watch a Rocky movie and be like, yeah, Sylvester Stallone or Rocky Balboa was just a naturally gifted athlete that could kick the fuck out of anyone. No, we saw him running and working out and lifting shit and running and getting his ass kicked. Eating eggs. We saw the journey. So what did? We wanted to replicate the journey. How many times after watching a Rocky film or when you listen to that music would you be like, yeah, I want to pump myself up? How many people in the 80s and the early 90s were in the gym listening to Eye of the Tiger and things like that? They were taking part in the journey. What they weren't doing is ogling over his finished physique like, yeah, I'm going to look like that. I'm going to be Rocky Balboa. How? Oh, I don't know.
Watch a few more videos.
But that's the kind of the answer to all our questions around how do we get the most out of Gen Z is
show them the journey.
Show them the journey. You won't sit there and be like, oh, I want to be a success. All right, I can. You what's a success look like? This. All right. Well, let's now talk about that journey. How do you get to that? How are you going to become a multi-platinum recording artist when you live in Hillfields in Coventry? Because it's not impossible. Many artists have done it who've come from like literally nothing and made it. But maybe you need to stop focusing on the last platinum album he put out and maybe start researching about how he got there. What did he have to do?
What steps did he take?
Well, and more importantly, what did he have to not do? What did he have to walk away from? Kanye West was a geek. Kanye West was an absolute geek, and he would make music for all the big boys. Yeah, and he'd sit there and constantly be, hey, Jay, I rap too. Yeah, that's cute, man. That's cute. Yeah, just whack a few more tracks on.
That's a few more beats.
Well, it was good. That was yeah. No, I'll do that. But listen to this beat. Yeah. It's nice, man. Yeah,
just another
get
beat.
on with your job. Get on with your job. Kanye West wasn't out
very true
on the road and all the rest of it. He was a geek. He was an absolute geek.
No, was Drake. Matter of fact, that's another good one.
That's something else there.
So I saw this documentary ages ago, and it was about like up and coming rappers and all that sort of stuff. And Jay-Z's sister was on there, and she was talking about like what he, and when all of his friends were out, she was like, he would be there like music on, looking at the dictionary, memorizing words in the dictionary to increase his vocabulary for him to be the best lyricist that he could possibly be. And again, that's the journey. Yeah. Now you look at him and anything he touches will turn to gold ultimately, right? But before that, it was like, well, no.
Joe, who doesn't know who he is though? Paul in France, in Paris. You ever seen that clip? It's a guy outside the Louvre in Paris, and it's Jay-Z and Beyonce walking past, and he's like recording his phone. He's like, "Who are you?" And he looks at him and goes, "Who are you?" He's like, "I Paul, who are you?" It's proper funny because it's funny like, "I'm Jay-Z, how do you not know who I am?" And he's like, "I Paul, who are you?"
But yeah, I think you're right. I think people just don't see the journey, do they? People just don't, or don't want to see it.
It's not people don't see it. We don't show them. We could say people don't see the journey if, again, take Balboa as an example. All we cared about was when he beat up Clubber Lang or when he beat like the Russian dude, right? If all we ever focused on was that, then you could say, no, people aren't seeing the journey. We've shown them the journey, but they're choosing not to see it. But we're not, right? You Forex traders, I did this, I did that, I'm turning this much money into this much money. Okay, how about you show the journey of the ups and downs and the losses and the losses of the losses and then the extra money you had to put in before you went, oh yeah, I took 1,000 and I got 100,000 out of it. No, but you didn't know, did you?
No.
But you didn't know.
100%.
Because if you did, you would have recorded the whole thing and see, look, every trade I made a profit. Now you can too. No, you didn't do that. What you're doing is you're going, here was my start, here was my finish, forget about the bit in the middle. Look at this, I went from there to there. The more you talk about and the more we focus on that bit in the middle, the more we can remold the minds of the next generation to be more bought into the journey than the actual end result. Because some could argue we're at that end result, and like we said the other day, like you would carry on, I wouldn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because the end result changes. Yeah. But, well, there you go.
The metrics are different for different people.
And they change throughout your lifetime, mate. I can tell you now. We were talking about this the other day. Well, what would you do if you won 100, like, we were like 100 mil on the lottery? And he was like, I'd invest in businesses, I'd invest in this and invest in that. And I was like, I'd just disappear. I'd be on, like, a 40-acre farm somewhere and just get up and just do what I wanted that day.
Do the Thanos retirement plan.
If I want to make that's perfect. That is perfect. I'd go, I'd pick a few, like just put a bit of salt in that, just sit down and watch the world like just go by. That to me is like ultimate bliss. But if this me was talking to like 20-year-old me, what the fuck happened to you?
Your ADHD wouldn't let you just sit there. And
No, but that's the point, right? No, but that's the point. I would be like, oh, I'm going to make one of these today. I'm going to learn woodworking. I fancy. I'm just gonna. You know, I've never been fishing. I'm gonna go fishing because I can. But like, but that goal now, that mentality shift that I'm in now, is very different to when I was in my 20s and like early 20s. It was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna fucking do this, and I'm gonna be the next Bill Gates. And that guy's an idiot. Like, in my. Right. So, Ray Sessions. What's the long-term plan for you with this then?
So, is to continue growing and providing a platform and opportunity for young artists to be able to showcase their talent, believe in themselves, and create a culture of, supporting each other. Like, for example, last night we had an event, and hence my voice is the way it is. Give it my all.
You're a fanboy the whole time, weren't you? Yeah.
Not quite. Let's just say that my heart breathes.
Good.
Breathes it, you know what I'm saying? I feel it and I do it out of love. And it's wonderful to see that, every event that we do gets bigger and better, the exposure, and most of all, imprinting like the positive attributes. For example, everybody to support each other. Doesn't matter, like, for example, you come for the first time and then you jump on the mic because it's one of our open mic sessions, and
he starts singing in the rain.
Yeah.
For example, right? And then everybody else in the room is like, you know what?
Yeah, just encourage each other.
It's encouraging. It's that positivity, and it builds a community of people. You know what you guys said that this generation doesn't have? I'm trying to build that. Build that community feel. And, a lot of times it's easy to say, oh, there's no youth groups anymore. But there are. It's just, are you looking hard enough? And I was impressed with the way you could reflect, because, your generation only shown the success, like the end result, but not the journey. And what does philosophy preach? It's all about the journey, not the destination. And I feel that that's not often, highlighted enough.
No,
so what's so is it just artists, or do you kind of teach things like engineering? Do you teach more than just if I wanted to be an artist?
It's a lot more than that. Obviously, artist is just one aspect of it. we also, you know, cater for service providers. So if you're an up-and-coming engineer, videographer, graphic designer, if you want to get into marketing, you know, social media marketing, learn about branding, like, we do all this kind of stuff too. And, you know, the example being, you know, how well we brand ourselves. We pride ourselves in branding. Like, we've got a house style, a theme, color theme to our brand, you know. If you ask me, like, what's the font that you use? I'll tell you. Gibson, mate. You know what I mean? Every single thing that we put out, it's got to have the Gibson font on it. Otherwise, it doesn't have the Ray Session feel. And how many, you know, up-and-coming businesses have that? You know, one day they have this font, then the next day they have the other font. And it's because a lot of people haven't been taught.
Still trying to find their identity and stuff, but equally, you're hiring people within your marketing and graphics function that don't get the concept of brand continuity and building a brand and that kind of thing. So
100%.
Yeah. So actually, if you've got, like, if there's people that are just looking for, you know, not work experience as such, but something to put on their CV.
Almost like an internship type thing.
Yours is the perfect kind of platform for that, because they can come and offer their services to you, and you can introduce them to artists that can pay them, not pay them, come up with some sort of arrangement, but they can then be like, right, well, I've done graphic work and PPC and SEO work and content work for the following artists. And it's a good way to build out your portfolio.
100%. Ideally, what I want is, you know, to get some sort of investment to come into money where I could offer some of my, you know, the best creatives that's within the network contracts, and I could be like, okay, guys, now we could fully focus, because, you know, the reality of the situation is that majority of every single person that I work with, you know, Ray Session is not the only thing they do. I'm talking about the service providers, and that's the reality. And that's why, you know, the growth is stunned. That's why I have to wait like 2 years till I buy the house, and not today, because I don't come from money, you know. I'm Polish. I came here as an immigrant. I am an immigrant. So for me, I'm very, very grateful to be in a position I'm in. But that's, you know, courtesy of, you know, the mindset I've been imprinted by my parents, and I'm very, very grateful for it. You know, it's like, you have to work hard, otherwise nobody's gonna see who you are.
Yeah,
because it's like,
anything.
I was below the level because I didn't know how to speak English. I had to learn the language. Then I had to be like, cool, what is it that I actually like? What is it that I want? You know, I felt like I was a flower that was literally just dug out from the roots and just replanted somewhere else. It took me years to find my feet. It took me years to understand me as a person. And that's why I'm very grateful. That's why a lot of things that I do is about giving back, and understanding everybody as an individual, which is a key thing. And it doesn't matter, because I see potential in anyone. However, I can't do everything. It got to come from within you. And that's why I ask everyone, do you really want to do this? For me, like, before, like, the hiring process, for example, you know, I asked them, do you really want to do this? What is it you truly want? Money aside, what is it you want to do? What is it that you truly want? And if I hear an answer that's real, I'll be like, you know what? This is where you want to go. And then along time, I learn whether that person is telling me the truth or not. Because it's like, if you're telling me you want to be an engineer, but then every single time you get some money from engineering, like, you go out on an event and you get waved, you get hammered, etc., and then, you know, you miss out sessions and then you miss opportunities, then it makes me question if that's truly what you want. But then on the other hand, what if that person wants to blow some steam first? You know, there's a balance, and makes me question whether that person had, for example, you know, a role model. Whether he has a role model that could tell him, like, don't do that, that's not wise. If you want to go out, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with going out, but there's a time and place for everything. And
it's a sacrifice element, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I just ask them, truly find out what is it they want, because I think that's the key. And then I'm like,
fair.
Yeah, man.
So how do people get in touch with you then? So if you've got any up and coming engineers, artists, videographers, graphic designers, how do they get in touch with you?
So we operate on social media under the username Ray Sessions UK, and we're on LinkedIn, all social media platforms the same, at Ray Sessions UK, and we have a studio in Fargo Village, Coventry, which is like our headquarters where we operate.
Okay, so reaching out to you guys on social media is the best way to do it, yeah?
social media, anywhere, man. We even have a studio phone number where people could call in directly to book sessions. So, yeah.
Good man. Right, well, thanks for coming on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you,
Mate,
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's
Mike.
been good. Thank you.